All right, hey everybody. I know I met everyone this morning, but just in case you forgot, my name is Dan. I see there's some people who are been in a bunch of sessions, so today is very different. This session, I should say, this is online testing. This is making an assessment. We're barely going to touch looking at the data. It's really just going to be all the options for making an assessment. Now, I know there's a gazillion assessment platforms out there, so please, share any questions like, hey, this platform does this, do you guys do this? Or even like, why would I do it on this if I already have this other platform? So I think those are all healthy discussions, and so feel free to throw them out at any time. The slides that Jerry, your principal, sent out early in the day, I did a table of contents on slide 3, because I just want to put all the slides together, but I don't want to tell you, like, scroll to whatever slide. So if you go to the table of contents, slide 3, and just click on how to create your own LinkIt assessment, and then it'll bring you to the right slide. Okay. So we're actually going to just dive in there and get started. The slides are very detailed. There are lots of options with test authoring. We're going to keep it pretty simple today, but I also want to be broad in terms of what the other opportunities are that we're not actually going to go through at a training pace. But know that test authoring is as simple or complex as you want to make it. But just to give you a heads up, there are slides for every step. So feel free to take all the notes you want, but they're all in here. So let's log in to LinkIt. If you weren't in the last session, you will go to your staff resource bookmark to log in. So leave the slides on one tab, log in on another tab. It's in your staff resources. And then once you click on LinkIt, do not choose a username or password, because your admin team spent a bunch of time this summer, including Chris, and set up single sign-on, so you don't need a username or password. So just click on where that arrow is, sign in with Google.
And Dan, can I interject?
Yes.
If any time you get lost or you're not where everyone else is, just wave and I'll come over and help you.
All right, so again, for those just coming in, go to your staff resource page, log into LinkIt, and just click sign in with Google. Are folks more or less in? Okay. If I am going too fast at all, please slow me down. If you want me to repeat something, I'd rather go at a pace where everyone feels successful. And again, raise your hand if you need help. Rose can come by and help you out, or I can too. So we're on the platform, and we are going to go into test authoring, which is the paper and pencil test design, it's actually called. I still don't know why on an online platform our icon is a paper and pencil, but it is. So in test design, basically you click on the icon, the black bar has the options. 99% of the time you just go into test. So just click on test for me. Now, just out of curiosity, besides ELA and math, what other subjects are here? Science? Chem? All right. I heard most of those, so a nice diversity. Cool. So if you haven't assigned a test before, when you assign a test on LinkIt, you choose a grade, a subject, and then what's called a form or a test bank. And that's the first thing we need to make. A test bank is a folder with a bunch of tests in it. So it could be like your unit tests, your quizzes, your do nows, your surveys, whatever you want. So we first need to make a bank. So your screen probably looks like mine in that it's blank, because you're about to make your first test bank. So exciting, right? This is going to be great. Let's do this. Yes?
Can I jump in here? Speaking from experience, having started LinkIt at a district, it's kind of like Google folders. There's going to be a lot of stuff in there, and the more things,
Yes.
the better. We kind of learned this the hard way previously. I would put, if you're making a folder,
Yep.
definitely put like your course, your grade. Don't call it final. Especially if, God forbid, you move to another grade, and then, somebody like me is trying to support the teacher who took your place and seeing what the final was. We could have 9,000 tests called final and 9,000 folders called assessment. So specificity in this naming is a good thing. Your department, your course, the grade,
Yep.
maybe your name, like more information is better.
Perfect. So let's click Add New Test Bank. It is gray. So some people don't realize you can click on it, but click Add New Test Bank. And as Rose was saying, choose your grade unless, if you have multiple grades in your class at one time, which is probably many of you, I would choose 9, 12 on the bottom. If you have all kids in one grade, choose the one grade. Now, you may be saying I teach different classes with different scenarios, so you're making a bank for one subject you teach or one class you teach. Now, when you choose subject, find your subject. I think almost every subject is on here. We even have STEM and STEAM, although we don't have STREAM. I heard that's the new one. But you can click Other if yours isn't on here, but most of them are on here. Okay, let's talk about bank. This is what Rose was talking about. It's good that we're consistent in our naming conventions. So please start with the school year, 21-22. If you teach one grade, put the one grade. If you teach multiple grades, you can just do 9 to 12, meaning the kids that are in your class for this one subject. And then put the name of the subject. So English 1, whatever it is. And then the right part is as important as everything else, what we're about to type. This lets you know what this folder is. Unit tests, quizzes, etc. If you have no idea, you can just call it demo. Yep, you can very easily rename it. Thank you for the question. I'll show you in a second how to do that. So I'm going to actually call mine demo don't use because I'm not going to make anything that's good. Okay, so I click create. And now you have a folder on the left side. And by the way, I definitely recommend that you create something today. I'd rather you kind of get your hands in there and try it out than just watch me. So once you create a folder, you need to open the folder. So to open the folder, you click on it on the left. And then it turns blue. Anyone need me to help get you here again? I'm happy to show you. Okay, so my folder's open. There was a question about changing the bank name in the future when you know what it is going to be. So once you click on the folder on the right side, it says Test Bank Properties. So up there, you can just simply change the name of the folder by typing in here, whatever you want, and then click Save. But for most of us, we'll probably leave it for now. That's kind of a future thing. And then it says Add New Test in the middle. Again, it's gray. You click it, and you're probably going to give it a very similar name. School year, grade. And this may seem a little cumbersome, but trust me, in 2 years, when you're trying to find whatever you made today, it'll be easier to find it. The subject. And then this is the name of the test. So if my folder was unit tests, this is unit 1. The folders are important because we don't want you to have to look through 100 tests to find your test. So that's why we use folders. And then hit create. You may consider making a short do now for like the end of September or middle of September. So it's no stress for the beginning of the school year, but 3-question assessment works great. You click that create button and you get this screen. Again, I'm going to pause to see if there are anyone needs help getting to this screen. Okay. Oh, you're good. You're close.
Yeah.
So just click Add New Test and give it the same name as before, but the actual test. So, Unit 1, Quiz 1, Shakespeare, whatever it is. OK. So just to take 2 seconds to alleviate any of the how am I going to remember this feeling, there is a slide on making a test bank with those naming conventions on the bottom, and how to make a test. OK, so there's 2 places to start. We're going to start with creating your own item, which is just LinkIt speak for question. Then I'm going to show you how to import items, take items from existing item banks. I'm going to do that second because I don't know if we have item banks for every subject here. So let's go to Create Item on the top. So this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about why you might want to give assessments over time on LinkIt. There's lots of good testing platforms out there. A lot of them have similar functionality to LinkIt. We may have some more, others may have some different stuff. But where it says change item type, these are the item types that we have. These item types are everything your kids would see on a state test and additional ones. Everything auto-grades on here except extended text, which is like they type in sentences, paragraphs, essays, and drawing response. I'm going to go through each type in a second. But so you can really set yourself up to have certain things that used to be manually graded, auto-graded. We do not have AI that reads sentences and all that kind of stuff. We don't believe in that. But that could just help you with efficiency. Another big reason that teachers and districts use us for testing is this report that I showed you in the opener, and for those of you who were in the last session, this class diagnostic. If you can put standards on related to questions, you can make that shift from, hey, my class got a B average, to these are the standards my class knows in green, and these are the standards I may need to spiral back to. It'll also help you, based on the standards in your assessment or the skills, with which kids may need small group extra support. So for most districts, that's the shift instructionally why they come to LinkIt, is how you can support differentiation and small group instruction, which is, of course, part of everyone's instructional goals. And then the other is these item types. So what we're going to do first is I just want to make a simple item with you, and then we'll get into some of the other item types. So where it says enter question, you can simply type your question here. Okay, know that there's this rich text format bar on top. It's very similar to what you would see in Google. You can, all the way on the right, actually I'll go here with my mouse. You can add hyperlinks here. As long as the hyperlinks get through your firewall, you're good. You can add a reference. So this is very useful for many subjects. If you want a reference on the left, like the periodic table, a political cartoon, a piece of art, a bunch of essays, you can have the reference on the left, question on the right. You can have a video on here or a picture. Now for math people, I will not pretend to use the math academic vocabulary you know well, but in insert formula, these are all the formulas that you would use. So they look nice, clean, crisp, and whatever other words you use to describe it, but they'll look, as you want.
Yeah, the other thing that I can add is if a student has an accommodation that requires a print copy, it will print and won't go wonky on you. So it's a nice thing.
Yes, thank you.
For languages, accents will be auto-corrected, and in terms of the native speaker, we can add in sound.
Yes, thank you for asking that. So,
Works well with languages.
okay. So for languages, we do have Spanish and French. I think those are the only two palettes. We'll look later. So those have all the accent marks if you have open-endeds for them to use. Text-to-speech is horrible for world language. It is meant for English, so I would not recommend it. The speaker can be if you want to record your voice and then they answer a question. So for non-world language, we do have text-to-speech. It works great for everything. It just, I wouldn't recommend it for world languages.
And then one last follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
So you can place audio so that they have to listen.
Yeah.
Can they? No, but not
Yes.
in foreign language. Not in foreign language.
Well, yeah, if they wanted to record, however they record and put it, you have Google, right? So they put it in their drive, they would just have to put the link in here.
Okay.
So we don't have a recording specific feature, but the big thing with that, just not to get too much into the weeds, but we do have a kiosk mode for testing. You could not be in the kiosk mode if you're having them record and add, because the kiosk mode shuts out the rest of the web. So in that specific use case, you can reach out to Rose, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to me. My contact's the bottom slide, and we can work through that. It's not a hard solution. I just don't want you to be surprised.
Right, to see it, that could get complicated.
Yeah, but we can make it work for sure. All right, thank you for the question. Okay, so here is your question. I'm going to keep it simple, and then to put an answer in, you click here to edit answer choices. So that gray bar right here, I'll put my mouse around it, and it's very simple. You just type in your answer here. Notice that you can add a choice by clicking Add Choice. You can get rid of a choice. The right answer was with the check mark. All the rich text format stuff is here, including those math formulas. The point value is here. Now there's lots of options with multiple choice, but we're just going to stay simple right now. I'm going to click OK. When you are done-ish, you can always come back and edit this, but you might want to preview the item. When you're new to test authoring, I recommend you preview a bunch just to make sure what you're doing looks like you want it to look. This will open up a new tab in our test taker platform, and it'll show you what it looks like. Nice and simple. Know that to go back to your test, you can go back to create new item. Now, if you're like me and suddenly you have a million tabs and you don't like that, you can get rid of your test taker. But that's probably more of a personality deficiency of mine. Oh. Yep. Yep, you can go right back into it right here, or you can go back into it before the kids take it. The intent is the minute a kid has results, you can't edit a test. Now, there are ways around that, but it requires a little bit more work because we want you to get consistent data. So that's why that's the initial intent. Was there another question? Great. Yeah, awesome question. So to add rationale, let's see here. You know what? I haven't been asked that in like 2 years. I'm just going to have to remind myself how to do that, but you can definitely do that. Our benchmarks have rationale in them, but that's an awesome thing. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it just means you can explain why certain answers are right or wrong when kids are reviewing the test. Yes?
It looks like the rationale is right there.
Oh, in which part?
Just click here, get that, and then there's a checklist or something over there. Yeah.
Ah, thank you for teaching me something. Thank you for asking the question. It's awesome. So, oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, there's lots of clapping. My last group had clapping. It's good. Okay, so add guidance and rationale. Awesome. Cool. All right, so let's move on to our next question. Let's go to save and create new. And by the way, I'm not trying to rush you. I just want to show you a few things, and then you're welcome to just stay with this, or if you want to learn more things, you can learn more things. So we'll have I'll give you some choices in a minute here. Good, we got 20 minutes. Okay, so I click Save and Create New. Even in multiple choice, there's a bunch of options I want to go through. Go here to click here to edit answer choices again. We're just on a new question. If you're not sure how I got here, I clicked Save and Create New on the bottom. Anyone need help getting to a new question? Okay, click here to edit answer choices. You can make a question multi-select. Just like the state test, the circle becomes that squarish thing, and you go to multi-select. This kind of begins all of the options in LinkIt for test authoring. Again, it can be as simple or as detailed as you want it. If I choose multi-select, I need to choose how many choices I would give them. If I wanted to give them partial credit, I could do that. So you can kind of see, you can keep it simple, or you can start to give them choices. One other thing I want to mention here that I'm a big fan of is we have informational only questions, which when you click it, it says points possible will be set to 0. These are survey questions. The last question on your quiz or test or whatever could be, how long did you study? There is no points associated with this. So you can have a good discussion with them. Or, what was the hardest part of the test? What was the easiest part of the test? Did you think you did well? All those things that you can just have a short conversation with kids, and you can just let them know in the question, hey, this is worth nothing, this just helps me support you. So those are neat, like, final questions on an assessment. So if what you want to make is a multiple choice assessment, feel free to just play around with it now. In the slides, let me just get down to our slides here. There are some resources on, all the formatting if you have any questions. But I know some people aren't looking for other test question types, so I don't want to overwhelm you. So feel free to just stay with multiple choice. But if you do want to see all the other neat stuff, that's what I'm going to do right now. So while we're in here, I'm going to go over the question types. Know that slide 36, which always sounds horrible to say in a slide presentation. Sorry it's so long, but there's lots of good stuff in here. Has videos on each question type. But I'm just going to go through the common ones that people have questions about. So, inline choice, that is a drop-down menu. So instead of multiple choice, it's a drop-down menu in the question. Drop-down menu is the main character in the story, that kind of thing. Fill in the blank. These are auto-graded. So that is nice because you don't have to go through, but it's a little harder for the kids to answer it than a multiple choice. If you choose a fill in the blank, you need to consider that how you can ask a question so that the kids are going to answer it specifically how you want. Now, let me give you an example, and that might make more sense. If the answer to the question is Barack Obama, you need to decide, are they supposed to say Barack Obama, President Obama, Obama? Are they supposed to, do something else, the whatever number president he was? So your question type, and when you type in the question, you might want to say an example of what you're looking for in an answer. The reason is you don't want 20 kids coming up and saying, I wrote President Obama, and you only said Obama is the right answer. So these are just some of the things you want to think through. Extended text, as I said before, is open-ended. You can have an on-demand writing sample, boom, right there, very easy. You could have a back and forth with the student in Google Drive for a month, and the final version goes on here for grading. Eventually, what can happen in a lot of districts is that if the younger grades put their writing samples on LinkIt, you can actually see them in LinkIt, which is really nice. What's also nice about putting writing on here is if you need to bring writing to those 504 IEP parent meetings, you don't have to find folders for it. It's on here. Now with writing, there's basically two ways to grade it. One is you can grade it, total points. It's a 15-point rubric, and they got however many points. The other thing that is new as of this spring is that we have a rubric. And I'm not going to have time to go through the details of it, but slide 40 goes through how to make a rubric. I can always do a follow-up, but I just want to introduce that this looks just like your normal rubric. You would input what's in the rubric, so for any subject. What's also nice about it is you can put standards on the rows of the rubric, so you can get the same breakdown of results as you could from a multiple choice test. So I find that really useful across the board. All right, multi-part is very common in high schools. Part A, multiple choice. Part B, explain your answer. So that's what multi-part is. All right, you know what drag and drops are, so I'm just going to end with the hot spots. I'll show you a picture. These are neat auto-graded items. I'm just going to go to slide 36 for this. So what this is, an image hotspot is they click on a part of a picture to answer the question. So in math, click on the part of the graph. In art, click on the part of the painting that shows blah, blah, blah. Political cartoon, pick on the part of the political cartoon. Click on the part of the periodic table where you'd look for this. It really has a use in every subject. And those are things that kids used to circle, and you'd have to flip through the test and manually grade them, but this auto grades. So we have an image hotspot. We also have a text hotspot. So click on the part of the text. So click on the metaphor in the text. Click on, this one could be really related to math and science, like click on the independent variable, or click on the part of the formula that. So those kind of things are really neat questions that can really save you time grading, but are a little bit more challenging for the kids. We also have table hotspots, and the number line hotspots probably don't relate to you, but I don't really know high school math well. So in terms of test authoring overall, this is really meant to be an introduction. And know that as you get into it, I can start to do specific training with you, either in a small group or in a large group, related to some of these more advanced features. What I want to end with is just showing you how to take other items from existing item banks. But before I do that, I know I've covered lots of things in a short amount of time. Anyone have any questions on the item types? Okay. So let's get into using existing item banks. So the item banks that we have, just to go over them, then I'll show you how to use them, are the New York Regents items that go well beyond math and science. There is world language in there for my world language friends. And we do also have, I said math and science, I meant ELA and math, but we do have a bunch of science in there. There's physics, chemistry, all that good stuff. This summer, our content team aligned all these questions with New Jersey standards. So what's nice is that you can look them up by standard. We have all the Park released items in ELA and math. For my science friends, the state released a single unit 3 years ago in grades 5, 8, and 11. So it's not a benchmark at all, but you can utilize that as well. For all those assessments, Regents, Park, NJSLA, all of those, you can actually use the entire assessment, or you can kind of pick apart different parts. So that's what I'll show you now. So I'm back in Create Item. I'm just going to click Save and Close on the bottom. Save and Close. And we went to Create Item. Now know that for the items you have created already, you can add standards to them if you want. There are slides on that. I can always come back for PD. but I want to show you how to import an item. So top left, import item. I'll just show you that again in case you missed it. So I'm clicked on import item right here. So what I'm about to show you, I have about a minute video in the slides for that'll go through each step. So what you'll do is you'll uncheck personal item library and check district item library. The district items are all these open source free questions that we have access to. Now there's two ways to do it. I'm going to show you both. If you know the exact place you want to get the results from, you can go to item criteria. And again, please let me know if you want me to show you any of these steps again. The bank, again, a bank's a folder with a bunch of tests in it. So you'll choose either a park item, and the grade levels are here, so it looks like they go up to grade 9. And they also have geometry. And you see all the NJSLS is the NJSLA-S is the science one. I guess the state recently released a revised one. I have no idea if it's different. Does any science teacher know if it is? I don't know. And anyway, then you can see all the Regents items. So I'll choose living environment for the fun of it. An item set is then, okay, I've opened up the folder, now I'm going to choose the specific test. Now, you may have no idea which Regents test you want to look at, because there's many, many years. So if I were you, I'd just choose the most recent one. But they're all good items. Once you've chosen those two, you click Search by Item, which is right here. And these are all the items. There's lots of items. If you find an item you like, you can click on it, and there's the item. If it has a reference, you can click on the reference to check it out. Edible insects. That's interesting. Okay, so then when you find items you like, you can just check them. When you click the check, you can click Add Items to Test. Last thing for Add Items to Test is it's going to ask you if you want to clone it. Not to get into ethics, but I don't think cloning's the greatest thing in the world, so I usually think cloning bad, but in this case, cloning's good. Cloning means you can edit it. So typically you want to clone it so you can edit it. I click clone, and then it's over there on the right. I could change the wording if I use a little different academic vocabulary. So that scenario may work for some people, but you may want to look at questions by standard. So let me show you that, which is probably the way most of you will do it. So if you scroll up, we've been in item criteria. And anyone have any questions on item criteria before I show you this last piece? Okay, if you go to standards, now that you know the kind of stuff we have questions on, you can choose the great state of New Jersey, choose your subject, and then choose your grade. And now you'll see standards on the right. Now we don't have these for every subject. We only have them for those, Regents and Park released items. But what you can do is really drill into a standard. Let's say I want to look at matter and its interactions. I click on the triangle, and I choose a single standard. Then, same thing, I can click Search by Item. Whoops. Let me go here instead. And it looks like I chose something that doesn't have a question. Hold on a second. Ooh, what am I doing wrong? Are you all getting something when you see search by item? No. No, yeah, me neither.
I hit just search with nothing, like nothing text.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of similar to what we just did. I'll be honest with you. I think there might be something in the background that my team needs to fix, but eventually that'll be set up. I won't beat around the bush. But so then you can just look up questions by standard. But at least you have the first way as well. So this slide here, Park Regents item importing, this video shows you how to do what I just did. I actually gave you time this time. That's nice. So again, this is meant to be an introduction. Test authoring is as simple or as option-ridden as you want it to be. And I can definitely support you with more PD on this as it goes. But thank you for all the questions. Yeah, question? If you know a place where the AP, where a college board, right? That's AP, where college board says like anyone can, like this is where you can take questions from. Can you email me that hyperlink? I'm just Daniel at LinkIt.com, and as long as it's legal, we'll put it on.
Okay, so thanks everyone. I wanted to really reiterate what Dan just said, and that is we're early in this stage, and we realize it. And there are multiple ways for you to have support. We're not saying, hey, you got trained, why aren't all your test materials on LinkIt tomorrow? However, we do know the power of data-driven instruction, and we know the power of looking at things across time, and we know that the more we use this, the more powerful it gets. So we're here to support you as we continue going on to LinkIt. I hope that future PD days will include a supportive time for you to create your own test. Like, bring a quiz that you've already made, and we'll help you get it on LinkIt so you have some more practice time and support. You also have support in the building. If you want to get started earlier, Lou Montiana, they are our instructional coach, and this is one of their jobs.